Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today we have another start collecting video for you, and this time we're looking at the last of the box sets for Broken Realms Morathi that have come out alongside the book's release, and we are looking at Gresh's Iron Reapers, the Chaos or Slaves to Darkness box set. This box set contains just a single model kit, although it is a dual kit and contains 3 Chaos Chariots. And what's really cool is we've now been given a brand new allegiance in Broken Realms Morathi, which really makes Chaos Chariots rather cool. Now, what's interesting about this new allegiance, they are called the Idolators, and they get to turn one single man unit of chariots into a character. So you can see at the front of the picture I've got up here that they've used this Exalted Charioteer model to become a champion, or rather a Idolator Lord. And so an Idolator Lord can be upgraded from any single model chariot unit. That model automatically becomes a Exalted Charioteer, even though the unit only contains one model. They also then get to take a mark of chaos, and they get the priest keyword, Idolator hero, and hero keywords. So they become someone who can lead your army, and then we'll talk a little bit about the battalion later, but there's a battalion on how you can make this model even better. So, really cool. We've got 3 units in here. We've then got Gore chariots, and I do recommend building 2 Gore chariots from this box set, mainly because that is how the battalion works. You need 2 Gore chariots and then 1 Idolator Lord to build around the battalion that this box set is focused around. Gore chariots are pretty darn cool. They've got some interesting rules on top of that of a normal chariot. So we've got things like, obviously they can have Exalted Charioteers if you start expanding out these units into bigger blobs, but at the moment while they're one-man units, they will not be Exalted Charioteers. They've got Crushing Charge, they do some mortal wounds on the charge, and they've also got Explosive Brutality, which means they get some more bonuses when they charge as well. The Gore Beasts themselves are okay. They've got 3 attacks each, 3s, damage 2, so they can put out a little bit more than, say, your average horses. And of course, you've got your dudes on the back who can be wielding like Chaos Great Blades for 3s and 3s, Ren 1 damage 2 with 2 attacks. So they can put out a decent amount of work. They've got a 4-up save, 8 wounds, 9-inch move, not particularly fast, but fast enough. And they've also got quite big bases, which means they can be used to take up board space really well. But most importantly, there's not really a lot more to talk about for chariots. There is just a single unit in this box in all essence. So we're going to talk about how we can expand this box set, and then we'll look at an army list at the end, really trying to build towards the theme of the Idolators with all the cool rules they get, and we'll explain more of them as we go along. But let's look at where we can expand this army into next. So, where can we expand to next? Now, it's worth pointing out that the Idolators get to make all Chaos Cultist units battle line. So, it really is trying to push you down this route of taking Chaos Cultist units to fit the theme of what they're built for the Idolators. And for me, the Chaos Cultist units that come out of the Warcry box sets have absolutely amazing models, and I just want to use them in games. And this, for me, gives them a decent way to use them, making them battle line. And they also get the ability where if they make a charge roll, the lowest dice becomes a 6. If both the dice are 1s, then only one dice becomes a 6. So they have a minimum 7-inch charge. Now, for me, there are 2 Chaos Cultist units that stand above the rest, and they are the first 2 that ever got released in the Untamed Beasts and the Iron Golems. For me, the Untamed Beasts and the Iron Golems work really well together. The Untamed Beasts have a pre-game move which allows them to sort of scout ahead and push your forces like front line ahead, meaning your opponent can't deep strike in or deploy their units right on top of you and pin you into your own deployment area. What's also really great about this is it works great in cohesion with the Iron Golems. The Iron Golems re-roll their armor saves when they haven't moved. So what this allows you to do is push your Untamed Beasts by taking these 2 units in cohesion with each other. You push your Untamed Beasts up the board and allowing your Iron Golems to fall in behind them and not have to get into combat with moving, so meaning they can set themselves up, sitting on objectives and get ready to re-roll those armor armor saves. This also means that you're not needing to take other support pieces. Say like the Chaos Sorcerer Lord is a normally common support piece within a Slaves to Darkness army, as he can use Ocular Visions to allow you to reroll saves, but the Iron Golems, don't need to do this because they are already rerolling their saves. So long as they haven't moved. And so as long as you're able to put these into position, you can have those spare points you would normally have to spend on a Chaos Sorcerer Lord to get that buff by not needing it. This also means that your Untamed Beast can actually get quite far up the field really early, and combine that with the Idolators, meaning they can get charges off and really pin things back, or potentially get out some screens, or potentially snipe off some units that your opponent has not deployed thoughtfully. Now, the next model I'm going to suggest after these two Chaos Cultist units, and of course you could go look at other Chaos Cultist units, there are some other great units in there with some cool abilities, like the Cypher Lords, have some really cool abilities and play, I think, as well. Probably in Cohesion, if you start expanding this more, working in Cohesion with those Iron Golems holding objectives. But the next piece I'm going to suggest is the Dark Oath War Queen. Now, these aren't necessarily the most competitive build of units I'm suggesting, but they are going to fit the theme of what we're trying to do with an Idolators army, which I think, for me, is the most important thing. Now, she gives you an additional +3 to charge for cultist units wholly within 12 inch. Now, if she uses her own run rolls, she can potentially make sure she's keeping up with those Untamed Beasts and give them a bigger charge bonus. This works really well, but she could also pair up with Chariots, making sure those Chariots make their charges as well to get those important D3 mortal wounds of impact hits off. There's a lot of stuff in this army where you really want to be doing the charging and not charging, obviously excluding the Iron Golems that I've mentioned before. You don't want to be charging with them, but she's just a really cool piece and she fits the theme of what we're trying to do. The last unit I'm going to suggest for this box set is Chaos Furies. Now, they do come in a box set with Raptorix, and the Raptorix are probably not a unit I'm going to suggest, but there's some cool models to paint up that you're going to have in addition to buying some Chaos Furies. But the Chaos Furies, for me, retreat and charge, and the ability to fly quite far, and also they have some cool abilities. Fly really far, they've got fly, they're fast, and they can retreat and charge. This gives them some really unique play in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, as you can charge along with multiple other units, and activate them first to actually retreat over your opponent's lines. This, combined with their high movement, can allow you to sort of just grab objectives that your opponent thought was completely protected, and the Furies just jump over your opponent's lines and grab those objectives for themselves. Not just that, but they can be great late game as well, with the ability just of fast movement and fly. This allows them to get where they need to late game. And yeah, just an all-up great unit, really, for some cheap points. And what's great about all these cultist units and stuff that I mentioned, Furies, even the Dark Oath War Queen, is these are all really cheap units. Everything here is coming under 100 points, I believe. I have to double check Furies, but I'm pretty sure they're under 100 points as well. Both units of cultists are 70 and the Dark Oath War Queen is 90. But coming in at under 100 points means you can just fill the board with lots and lots of models. And not just that, you've got a fantastic variety of models to paint up here that are going to give you some really exciting things to do on your painting table. But let's go look at how we can put this all into a list. So this is the list I've drawn up, 1,000 points of Slaves to Darkness using the Idolator rules, trying to stick to the theme that we've been given by all the lords. So obviously we're going to have an Idolator Lord. He's going to be in a Chaos Chariot, so just a horse-drawn chariot, and he's going to have the Chaos Great Blade and Lashing Whip. Now, the reason he's had to have this loadout is because we're going to use the battalion known as Gresh's Iron Reapers. That means our other two chariots need to be Gorebeast chariots. Which is cool. They're going to get the mortal wounds on the impact, but also by taking this battalion, our Chaos Chariot Idolator Lord, he's going to go up from 2 attacks to have 4 attacks with his Chaos Great Blade, which is awesome, and the damage of that weapon will actually change from 2 to D3. Making it a little bit more swingy, it does have the potential to roll really badly, but he also has the potential to roll much higher. In addition, if an unmodified hit for an attack made by the weapon is a 6, it does D3 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. So with those extra attacks, and hopefully you can roll a 6 and potentially get lucky and try and roll some more 6s and do some mortal wounds with this chariot as well in combat. He then also gets a command trait that he has to take, and so it's going to be Profane Oratory. At the start of the combat phase, you can pick one friendly Slave to Darkness unit, hold within 18 inches of this general. This could be himself, and you add one to the hit rolls. This means you can make sure more of those attacks get through with that Chaos Greatblade. You'll potentially be hitting on 2s, I believe, if I'm correct. I'm probably not. But also, we've got to remember that the Idolator Lord gets the Priest, which means he can use the Prez, and because he's going to be Chaos Undivided, he can pick one friendly... Well, he actually gets access to all the Prez. He gets access to all the Prez, however, he can only cast the Undivided one on himself because all the others require him to have keywords, and being in Gresh's Iron Reapers, everything in that battalion needs to be undivided. So he has a D3 D3 wound heal prayer for himself, which is cool, which means he can keep himself in the fight. Other things to mention about the Idolators as well is they do get +1 to wound rolls for attacks made by Idolator models that target enemy priests. And also they have Desecrate, which means you can sort of do the same thing that the Gatebreaker Giants can do, where you can actually destroy terrain, which is really cool. Other units in the army now, we've talked about the combination of Untamed Beasts and Iron Golems. So we've gone 2 units of 9 Untamed Beasts and 2 units of 16 Iron Golems. This will form really the core of the army, the Untamed Beasts pinning the enemy back, or at least making the enemy not be able to get right up in your face turn 1. The Iron Golems moving on to objectives. Meanwhile, your chariots will sort of work in cohesion to take apart your enemy force or hit things that need to die. That's the general idea of the army anyway, and I'd like to know your thoughts on the army down below. I get that this is probably not the most competitive builder as an army, however, I'm probably going to actually build this army up. I like the idea of this a lot. It plays to a theme, it's some cool models on the table, so we will see what it does. But leave some comments down below on how you're thinking of using this particular box set. Thank you all for watching, and please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you'd like, you can jump down in the description below and find a link to our Discord server. You can come chat with me and other members of our community. Also, a special shout out to everyone who supports the channel via Patreon. Thank you all so much for your support. To our Sinful Guard Militia members, Christian Weir, Philip Ward, Soren and Kenny Lull, and our single Free Guild Regiment members, James and AJC, thank you all so much for your support. But that's it from us today. If you'd like to help support on Patreon, you can do so. There's a link to the Patreon in the description of the video. And we'll see you all again real soon. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well. And most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.